Hi everyone, Gruntle here, and this is my guide to legendary and unique weapons in Borderlands the pre-sequel. This episode we're looking at the Lady Fist, which is a unique pistol manufactured by Hyperion and returning from Borderlands 2. You can get this from the Hyperion Sentinel. It is now in their loot pool. It wasn't to begin with, but they've added that into the game, and this weapon will give you immense critical hit damage, which is what you want to be using it for. Now you can get it in one of 5 elements. You can get it with no element. You can get it with shock, cryo, that's the word, shock, cryo, corrosive, or incendiary damage otherwise. And go away, there we go. Let's look at it here. It's got a nice shiny red skin. On the card you can see the plus 800% critical hit damage, which is pretty incredible. There is no other gun like it in the game. And if we look at the parts of this weapon, the barrel here is a dial barrel, and that's going to give increased accuracy, reduced recoil, increased recoil recovery, and reduced damage. So the only downside is the reduced damage. Now I have put a Vladoff grip on here because I think that'll be the best for this weapon, and that gives increased fire rate but reduced damage and reduced recoil recovery. But the increased fire rate is what I'm going for here. The damage doesn't really matter of this weapon because the 800% critical hit damage is what you want to be doing. And a little bit of an increase or decrease in damage on the base card isn't going to really affect that. Next up is the sights, and that's just the Hyperion sights to match the body. Then we have the attachment, which I believe is this little thingy here, I think. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember which one I put or where it goes, the one I put on there. But anyway, it increases the fire rate of the weapon, which is what I was doing with the grip there, but reduces the damage, and that doesn't really matter, as I said. Now, the name Lady Fist and the red text, love is a lady finger, true love is a lady fist. That's basically the same thing that was on the card for the gun in Borderlands 2. And the reason it mentions Lady Finger is there's a weapon in Borderlands 2 called the Lady Finger, and then you pick up the Lady Fist and it's way better than the Lady Finger. But anyway, let's compare it with the purple version of a Hyperion pistol with the same parts. And you can see already that the damage of the normal purple pistol is twice that, almost twice that of the Lady Fist. But as I said before, it's the increased critical hit damage that we care about here. The accuracy is pretty much the same, fire rate and reload speed are the same, and the mag size is actually increased on the Lady Fist. So that's nice. And of course, they're both Hyperion pistols, so with the Lady Fist it will have increased accuracy with a sustained fire. And so that means that you can basically fire it without aiming down sights, but I'll show you aiming down sights fire before I show you both pistols, just so you can see the fire rate and everything. So if we look at it here, it bounces and bobs, and then that's pretty good. Now you can see the fire rate isn't incredible, which is why I went for the increase. But if you look, I think Nisha has skills that increase damage as I get hits, so I'll let that go away and then I'll show you some things. Okay, so you can see there were 2 cards that came up. One was the 7,000 damage with a little bit of an increase because of Nisha's skills, and then the other one was 300,000 or something like that. So that's a bit of an increase. So here's the crit, 348,000 on a one-shot crit. I'll wait for the skill to go off, and 10,000. So there's a big difference between those 2 numbers, and that makes this gun very usable. Now it'll be usable with all characters because of that increase in critical hit. Let's see if we can actually get the critical hits. That's the only problem, you have to be able to hit the critical spot. So usually on bosses it's a little easier to use this weapon because they have bigger critical hit spots. But as I was saying with the characters, any character is going to be usable with this, especially since the Lady Fist comes in all elements, which is nice. However, I think Nisha's going to be the best with it, as she can hold 2 of them shooting at once, kind of like that character in Borderlands 2 that I'm forgetting the name of right now because I'm silly. I'm gonna leave it because I don't really care, but you know who I'm talking about. If you play Borderlands 2, you'll know. Anyway, I'm going to jump over to gameplay with Nisha. I'm going to show you just how badass this weapon can be. So here we are in Overlook with the Lady Fist and Nisha, and after just 2 critical hits on their enemy, he is going down, Tombstone skill is activated, and suddenly this weapon is shredding the enemies. Nothing can stand in his path. Her path. It's Nisha. Anyway, this weapon is very good with any character, but especially Nisha and her Tombstone skill. The only problem with this Nisha build is she's not built for health, she's only built for damage, so she does go down a couple of times here. But the Lady Fist, because of its accuracy being a Hyperion weapon, means that it is good in fight for your life mode. Now there's not much else to say about this weapon, except that if you want to read about how it is in Borderlands 2 or anything else about this weapon, you can check out the description. There'll be a link to the wiki page, it's just below the like button. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. It helps me out and you get to see my other videos. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, and you'll be able to see the weapons and build and everything in a second. Oh, one more thing. This weapon uses a lot of ammo with Nisha, but that's it. Anyway, I'm going out of here. Bye.